All right, so are you ready to dive into some Canadian politics?
Oh, always up for that.
Yeah, you're telling me. Especially with Trudeau stepping down.
Right.
I mean, after nearly a decade, this is big.
Huge.
Yeah, and you sent over a ton of articles, a Reddit thread that's just blowing up about what this means for Canada's future. So
Right.
our mission is to kind of sort through all of that and figure out what's next, you know?
Yeah,
Who are the power players now?
for sure.
What are the real issues that Canadians are dealing with?
Yeah, it really is like a political earthquake, and we're kind of here to analyze the aftershocks.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So let's start with Trudeau's exit.
Okay.
Was this a total surprise, or was this something that we should have all seen coming?
Well, Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader,
Mm.
he didn't waste any time,
Right.
jumping in.
Yeah.
That Toronto Sun article has him basically saying that Trudeau's team knew they were headed for disaster, but they just bailed to save their own skins.
Wow. Sounds like he's pretty happy about this.
Oh, yeah. Definitely capitalizing on the moment. But to be fair,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a grain of truth in what he's saying.
Okay.
The Liberals have been struggling with a lot of baggage lately, scandals, economic woes,
Right.
all of it.
Yeah.
You name it.
And speaking of that Reddit thread you mentioned, it's full of people who feel like the Liberals have been out of touch for a while now.
Right.
But some are wondering if this resignation is actually a strategic move.
Oh, yeah.
Like bring in a fresh face and try to distance themselves from the past.
Uh-huh. A classic political reset.
Yeah.
And, it could work.
Yeah.
A new leader might energize the base and attract some new voters, but
Yeah.
they're going to have to do more than just, swap out the figurehead.
Right, because the Redditors are also calling that out.
Totally.
Same old problem.
Yeah.
There will be the same policies, just with a new face.
Exactly. And they need to address the root issues. Things like the housing costs that are through the roof and just the feeling that everyday expenses are crushing people.
It's like those buy a house with avocado toast memes. Have come to life.
Exactly. They need to prove that they get it. You can't just offer, these platitudes.
So with Trudeau out, it's a free-for-all.
Totally.
What is Poilievre's plan here?
Well, the Toronto Sun article kind of lays it out.
Okay.
He's really doubling down on this message that the Liberals had their chance and they blew it.
Okay.
He's going hard on the time for a change angle.
Yeah. But does he actually have any solutions, or is it just all talk?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question,
Right?
The Reddit thread is full of people that are demanding to see the details.
Yeah.
Concrete plans, not just slogans.
Yeah.
They want to know how he would actually tackle these big issues, like the cost of living.
Yeah, it's easy to criticize, but governing is a whole other beast.
Yeah.
Speaking of contenders, the Bloomberg piece
You.
throws another big name into the mix,
Huge.
Mark Carney,
Right.
former Bank of Canada governor, and he's considering a run for the Liberal leadership.
Considering he's doing a lot of work in that sentence.
Right.
It could be genuine interest, or it could be a way to test the waters, see what kind of support is out there.
Yeah, just playing it coy.
Right.
Classic politician.
Classic.
But it's already causing some controversy.
Oh, yeah.
That Reddit thread is buzzing about his connection to Brookfield Asset Management, this massive investment firm.
Right.
So it's like the classic insider versus outsider.
Exactly. Some people see his financial expertise as a plus,
Yeah.
and then others are like, he's too close to big business.
Mm.
He's part of the problem, not the solution.
So we've got Poilievre hammering on change.
Right.
Carney may be thinking about it.
Maybe.
And the Liberals are trying to find a new leader.
They are scrambling.
What about Jagmeet Singh and the NDP?
Yeah.
Where do they fit into all of this?
Well, the Toronto Sun has him basically saying the same thing as Poilievre, that the Liberals messed up and Canadians deserve better.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
He and Poilievre are both attacking the Liberals. So how does Singh set himself apart?
Yeah. How do you stand out when everyone is yelling about the same things?
Exactly. He needs to convince voters that the NDP offers something different.
Yeah.
And like Poilievre, he needs to move past just the general criticisms and lay out some specific plans.
Yeah.
How would an NDP government actually deal with things like housing,
Yeah. Yeah.
affordability?
And he has to do it in a way that people will actually hear.
Absolutely.
Because that Reddit thread shows just how much distrust there is towards all politicians right now.
Yeah, they're tired of empty promises.
Yeah.
They want to see action.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to call people out.
So we've got all these players making their moves.
That's a lot.
What is the overall vibe from the public?
Right.
Are they excited? Are they terrified? Or are they just exhausted by all of this?
You know, that Reddit thread is really a perfect example of what the nation is feeling. And it's a mix of everything.
Okay.
You've got cynicism, distrust, a little bit of hope, and a whole lot of anxiety about what's next.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like the whole country is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens.
And there's one more thing that could really throw a wrench into everything.
Okay.
That report on foreign interference in Canadian elections.
Oh, right.
It's supposed to be out soon.
Yeah.
And people on Reddit are wondering how it's going to affect the leadership race and the upcoming election.
Yeah, that looming question, was there outside meddling, and if so, who benefited?
Exactly. And some are asking why Poilievre hasn't gotten security clearance.
Okay.
So if this report connects the Conservatives in any way, it could be really bad for him.
It adds a whole other level of suspense
Yeah.
to an already unpredictable situation.
It does. So we've got a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
A power vacuum at the top contenders, scrambling for position. The public is dealing with all this uncertainty.
Right.
And then this shadow of foreign interference hanging over everything.
It is a lot.
It is.
But, for those of you listening, this is about more than just political gossip. This is about the future of Canada.
Exactly. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to look closer at what Trudeau's resignation means.
Okay.
We'll analyze the strengths and weaknesses of all the contenders and try to understand what it all means for the average Canadian.
So stay tuned. All right, back to the Canadian political roller coaster. We've set the stage, talked about the shock of Trudeau's resignation, but now it's time to really dig into what it all means going forward.
Yeah, it really is like we're watching this game of chess where the king just walked off the board and everyone is trying to figure out what to do.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
So first things first, what does this all mean for the Liberal Party? Can it even survive without Trudeau at the helm?
I think that's the question everyone is asking.
Right.
I mean, he's been the face of the party for so long.
Right.
But, remember those comments from Reddit? A lot of folks are worried that the Liberals are just going to sweep everything under the rug, slap a fresh coat of paint on the same old policies and call it a day.
Right. It's a tough thing to overcome. How can they actually convince voters that this is real change and not just a different face?
Well, they need to tackle those core issues that are causing all this unrest. Housing affordability. That's a big one. People are feeling so squeezed. The millennials will never own a home. Jokes, they're not funny anymore.
No, it's a real anxiety for a lot of people. And then there's the rising cost of living.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everything is going up except wages.
Food, gas.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's like this feeling that the system is rigged against us. Like, everyday folks.
And the next Liberal leader can't just offer these vague promises. They need real concrete plans to address these issues.
Yeah, don't tell.
Exactly. So let's move on to the contenders.
Okay.
We're going to try and fill this void.
Yeah.
We've talked about Poilievre and Carney.
Right.
So let's maybe look at their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, let's start with Poilievre. He's been on the attack.
Oh, yeah.
Painting the Liberals as incompetent and out of touch.
Yeah.
Is that really a winning strategy?
I mean, he's tapped into a real vein of frustration.
Yeah.
I think people are tired of feeling like they're struggling, while politicians seem to be totally oblivious.
Yeah.
But is anger enough to win an election? I don't know.
Right.
He needs to offer solutions, not just criticism.
And there's that whole security clearance issue.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Especially with that foreign interference report that's coming out.
Right.
If it turns out that there are connections to the Conservatives that could really hurt him.
Yeah.
Some people think it's arrogance, others think it's a red flag.
So Poilievre is riding this wave of anti-liberal sentiment. But he has some work to do.
Yeah, he's got to be careful.
So Carney is a very different story.
Totally.
He has that air of authority, deep economic knowledge.
He's got that been there, done that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Right? But his ties to, big finance could backfire.
Yeah.
Some people see him as part of the elite.
Right.
Out of touch with everyday struggles.
Experience versus relatability.
Exactly. He needs to prove that he gets it.
Yeah.
He understands people's concerns, and he has a plan to actually make things better.
Yeah, he can't just be the economy guy.
No.
So we've got Poilievre, the fiery outsider,
Right.
Carney, the experienced insider.
Yeah.
And then there's Jagmeet Singh leading the NDP.
Right.
What does his path to victory look like?
He's in a tough spot.
Yeah.
He's got to set himself apart from both the Liberals and the Conservatives.
Right.
He needs to paint a picture.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what would an NDP government look like, and why is it the best choice for Canadians?
Yeah. He can't just be the not those guys candidate.
Exactly. He has to show what makes the NDP unique.
Yeah.
How are their policies actually going to improve people's lives?
It's like he's trying to convince people to switch brands.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone is already loyal to the ones they have.
That's a good way to put it. He needs a good pitch.
So we've got these three main players duking it out.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the Canadians themselves.
Right.
What are they thinking?
Right.
What are they hoping for? What are they scared of?
Well, if that Reddit thread is anything to go by, there's a real sense of unease out there. You know, people are worried about the future, about if they can afford to live, whether anyone is even listening.
Yeah, it's like this underlying anxiety about where the country is headed.
And that's what makes this election feel different.
Okay.
It's not just about picking a party.
Yeah.
It's about the kind of Canada we want to build.
A referendum on who we are.
Exactly.
So
let's think about this. You've got Poilievre tapping into that anger,
yeah.
promising smaller government, more individual freedom.
Okay.
You know, he's a take-back control candidate, but it's very individualistic. It really begs the question, can we solve these big problems like climate change and healthcare
Right.
without the government?
That's the age-old debate.
Yeah, and then you've got Singh and the NDP who are pushing for social justice, a stronger safety net. You know, he's the we're all in this together candidate.
Right.
But his big problem is, can he convince people that these values will also mean a strong economy?
Right, because people want to feel like their lives are actually getting better.
Exactly, not just morally, right?
And then there's the Liberals
Yeah,
who are trying to figure out who they are without Trudeau.
right. Can they make people believe that they have the best of both worlds, you know, economic growth and social progress?
They're on a tightrope.
Yeah, especially with all that baggage from the past few years.
Yeah, and let's not forget about that foreign interference report.
Oh, yeah.
Like a ticking time bomb.
I know, and if it implicates any of the major parties, that's going to shatter what little trust is left.
Yeah, people are already skeptical, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then to find out that some of these politicians might be in the pocket of foreign powers.
That could really change things.
It could. But, you know, on the other hand,
Yeah.
maybe this will spark some change.
Right.
Maybe it will make politics more transparent, cleaner, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it will make people get more involved and demand better from their leaders.
So a lot of uncertainty, but a lot of potential for things to get better or worse.
Yeah, that's where we're at. You know, Canada is at a crossroads, and the choices we make now are going to have big consequences down the line.
So for you listening, you know, the one who sent us all of this,
Yeah.
what kind of Canada do you want to live in?
Right. What are you hoping for? What are you scared of?
What do you think?
Yeah, this isn't just a spectator sport. You know, we're all in this together.
Right.
We all have a hand in shaping Canada's future. So stay informed, stay engaged, and make sure your voice is heard.
Yeah, because the future isn't something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something that we create together. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next week to explore another topic. But until then, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
All right, we are back. And the stakes are higher than ever. We talked about that power vacuum, you know, all the contenders battling it out. But now it's time to really zoom in on the people at the heart of this.
Yeah, the Canadians themselves.
Yeah, ultimately it's their votes, it's their hopes and their anxieties that will shape what happens next.
Absolutely.
You know, that Reddit thread we keep talking about.
Yeah.
It is a gold mine of raw emotion. And what really stood out to me is just how disillusioned people seem.
Yeah. And, you know, I get it. People are feeling squeezed. You know, the cost of living is up. They can't afford a place to live. And there's that feeling that no one is listening to them.
It's like they're shouting into the void.
Right. And that's what makes this election feel so different. It's not just about who you're voting for. It's about what kind of country we want.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. You know, we've got Poilievre, who is really tapping into that anger.
Yeah.
He's promising smaller government, more individual freedom. Right. He's that take back control candidate.
Yeah.
You know, appealing to the people who feel like the system is against them. But his approach is so individualistic. It really makes you wonder, can we solve these big problems that we have, like climate change and healthcare, without any government help?
Right. That's a question we've been debating forever. And then you have Singh and the NDP who are pushing for more social justice, a stronger safety net.
Yeah, you know, he's like the we're all in this together guy, emphasizing that sense of community and shared responsibility.
Right.
But he has to convince people that this can also mean a strong economy.
Yeah. Because people want to see actual improvement in their lives, not just feel morally good.
Exactly. And then, of course, there are the liberals trying to figure out where they go from here without Trudeau.
Right.
Can they make people believe that they offer the best of both worlds?
Right.
Can they have economic growth and social progress?
Yeah. It's a tough line to walk.
It really is, especially with everything that's happened over the last few years.
Exactly. And let's not forget that foreign interference report.
Oh, yeah, like a ticking time bomb.
I know. And if any of the major parties are implicated, it's going to really damage whatever trust is left.
Yeah, people are already so skeptical of politicians. Imagine finding out that some of them are working for someone else.
Right. It could really change things up.
Oh, definitely. But maybe this will be a catalyst for change. Maybe it will force people to be more transparent.
Right.
Maybe it will get people more involved and force them to demand more from their leaders.
So lots of uncertainty here, but also the potential for some really good or really bad things to happen.
It's a pivotal moment. Canada is at a crossroads, and the decisions we make now will affect us for years to come.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, the one who sent us all of this material?
Hmm.
What kind of Canada do you want to be a part of? What are your hopes and fears as we move forward?
This isn't just something we watch. We're all a part of this. We all have a role to play in shaping Canada's future. So stay informed, get involved, and make sure your voice is heard.
Because at the end of the day, the future of Canada isn't something that just happens to us.
We build it together. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been great.
We'll be back next week with another interesting topic. Until then, keep asking those questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep.